Thank you for talking with me today.
Oh, thanks for having me on. Seriously, thank you.
So I was watching some of the series last night. I have to tell you, I didn't know a lot about the Golden State Killer. I know your late wife helped coin the name Golden State Killer. And this new
Yeah.
series, it's largely based on her book. Can you briefly set up what viewers can expect from this series? I can say it is compelling for sure.
Yeah, it's compelling. It's very disturbing because the filmmaker Liz Garbus, brilliant documentarian, follows three storylines, which is the kind of the Michelle's life story, how she was kind of got into true crime, and then how she becomes obsessed with the Golden State Killer. You know, she came up with that name. She also follows the history of the crimes themselves, the Golden State Killer in Northern California and then Southern California. Very disturbing, grim stuff during the 70s and 80s, and then also the stories of the victims, the survivors, how they, what their lives were like after encountering this man. So, and then how they all kind of converge. It's such brilliant, multi-level storytelling, but it gets pretty dark at times. So that's what you're going to be watching. But you're right. It is also, and I mean, I was, married to her. I saw her investigating the case. I knew how it ended, and it still was just drew me right in. It was amazing.
It's so interesting because in my business, as a journalist, we always say there's a certain kind of person who can be a crime reporter. You learn that very on. I remember my first years at a Northwestern, and you would meet these news directors and they would say, okay, you need a beat. Do you want to be the crime reporter? Do you want to be the education reporter? And I remember for maybe 20 seconds, I thought I was going to be a crime reporter. It really takes a certain kind of person. And it's interesting because when I listened to Michelle in that series, you can tell she has it. Like there's this tenacity that she has where you can tell she's just captivated by these cases. What do you think it was about these cases that she would just get almost sucked into them?
Yeah, I think it was the fact that, especially with the case of the Golden State Killer, there were so many attacks, so many victims, so much evidence, and yet he was still uncaught. And it was such a horrific series of crimes. Not only was he uncaught, there was a kind of a dark moment. But it's true, when Michelle came up with the name the Golden State Killer, one of the investigators said, thank you for coming up with a cool name. One of the reasons that this case did not get the legs it did, the killer was not given a cool name by the press. There is a branding aspect to it, which is a very sick thing to admit to, but Zodiac, Night Stalker, those names kind of land with you, but this one was not given a cool name, so it languished for a lot of years, partially because of that. And so that was what drew her to it. And as you said, she had this combination of tenacity, but also like a really good crime reporter. She had the ability to kind of lean back and try not to shape the narrative. And when she would talk to people, would let them talk. And the less you talk when you're interviewing someone, the more they will talk and end up revealing things. And that was a thing that a lot of the police that she worked with said it was an instinct that she naturally had, that a lot of times police take years to develop, is actually don't say anything, just let the person talk.
This series, I think one reason why I like it is because, you have people who are really into true crime and they're, obsessed with it. Other people are a little afraid of it. But this, I feel like you kind of get it all. I mean, there's definitely parts of it that are hard, but there's a story to it. There's a humanity to it, if that makes sense. I feel like she really gives, the series gives viewers a sense of there's a tribute to the victims, who survived the predator,
Oh, absolutely. And there's definitely a redemptive arc at the end that we hint at in the first episode. I do a book signing up in Sacramento, and I got to talk to some of the survivors, and that was, to me, felt like, for me, not that Michelle did not believe in closure, but it did feel like it made me feel good about the universe, I guess, seeing these strong women that had survived and that had thrived in spite of this insect basically trying to pull their lives down. And to hear them say that when we go to every one of his arraignments and we look right at him and he can't look up at us, it just feels to me that to me was like, yes, good. good.
Absolutely. And there's so many, I almost had not an aha, if you will, but a renewed perspective where when you talk about these crimes, especially as a reporter, you think about the perpetrator, but there are
Yeah.
so many other people, the web of people who are affected and whose lives are changed. There was one part in it where I think it was in the first episode where you see the detective going through his files and he says, he felt like his responsibility to find him in the
Yes.
beginning. That really got me because you realize you get insight into the law enforcement and detectives who are dedicated to this case.
Yeah, a murder is never the death of one person. It's yes, it's their death and it's the end of their existence, and it's also all of the psychic and emotional and spiritual damage it does to the people that love that person, or the people that maybe didn't even know them but live in that community and wonder, well, if that person's being killed here, then what does that mean? You see the terror that infected these communities when he was doing what he was doing. It just leaves so much damage. What the act of murder leaves so much damage, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they didn't neglect that.
Yeah, I think it was maybe years. It was 2 years after Michelle's death. Authorities charged 72-year-old former police officer Joseph James D'Angelo with these murders. And I guess she suspected DNA evidence would certainly probably be the key to the arrest. What do you think Michelle would have thought about this?
She would, you know what? I always want to answer that question with she would think this, and then I got to catch myself because Michelle was so complex and surprising a person. It's impossible for me to ever just predict what she would have thought. She would have thought something that I could not have imagined or anticipated. That's what was so amazing about her. No, you know what? I don't know what she would have thought. I do not know what her reaction would have been. And I'm glad that I don't know that.
So that's a fair answer. It's going to air Monday, the 29th. Of June. So, and we looked it up. It's the same day the man accused of these crimes, Joseph James D'Angelo, is expected to appear in court.
Yes.
Still unclear what will happen in court, but what are you hoping happens?
Well, I mean, obviously the victims and survivors will be there. They will look at him. He will not be able to look back at them. I've heard different rumors from the different police and journalists that I've talked to, none of which I want to say what I've heard right now because I don't want to, that's not my area to say, but I hope that whatever gets handed down it feels like justice and feels like some kind of sense of sanity to the survivors and victims that are there. That's who matters in this, not him and not the journalists. It's the victims and the survivors. So I hope it absolutely benefits them, whatever happens on the 29th.
I should say we reached out to his attorneys as of taping time, and we haven't heard back yet. I know you've seen most of the series, but I can imagine some parts are probably painful.
I've seen the first 4 episodes, and then I called Liz, and I felt really bad. But after watching episode 4, I was like, I know that I can't watch 5 and 6. I won't be able to watch them because I was giving notes on the rough cuts, and she said that's perfectly fine. And then I felt even worse for a few days after that. But then I called up Paul Holes, one of the lead investigators, and he said, "Oh, I haven't been able to watch these. Don't feel bad about that. Like, why would you? It doesn't do any good for you to torture and damage yourself even worse. Like, you've done everything you like." It made me feel good that even the cop was like, "I don't think I'll be able to watch all these." So, and I've been emailing with her and speaking with her family and all the McNamara's and all of her. She has such this massive Irish family out in Chicago and in the Midwest. And I'm like, obviously, I hope you watch these, but please be forewarned. I have not been able to watch all of them. It's very, very emotionally draining. And I just hope you guys are okay. And if you need to, please call me. Please email me if you need to talk. But, don't feel bad if you can't watch all these, because right now I can't. Maybe someday I'll be able to, but right now I can't.
Absolutely. I'm sitting here, this is not planned. I'm sitting here talking to you. And this time yesterday, I was talking with country star Rory Feek. He lost his wife to cervical cancer, and they had a 2-year-old at the time. And, listening to him talk, and he was talking about his wife. And I asked him, I said, how are you able to move forward and to because, you know, they still have kids and, you know, he's doing all these things. He's trying to write music. Like, how are you able to do that? And now I'll ask you the same question. I mean, we're going to pivot to this comedy special. It's absolutely hilarious, you know? And so I look at you and I watch you do your oval, which people will get when they watch.
Oh, yeah. God.
And I'm thinking, how does you bring it, you know, you bring the joy, where does it come from?
I think doing this latest special was a kind of a rebuke to the grief. It was like a resurging of the life force and going, I'm not going to let grief win, and I'm not going to, you know, it would be such an insult to Michelle to have, you know, a parent left to raise her daughter who's also grieving and damaged. I'm just going to let the life force resurge and try to give Alice a joyful life, and I'm going to try to live joyfully. And I've fallen in love again. I was not expecting that, but I said in the special, I'm not going to, if you see love, run at it, run towards it, you know. And I've now met and shared a life with two extraordinary, elevated women who have made me better, and I'm going to try to just live as a tribute, if that makes sense. And maybe just live with love and live with happiness. So to show other people that you can do that. I don't know. Again, I can only think it through so much before it going. I have to live, you know, you just have to live in the face of all of this horrible stuff. You have to keep living, or the horrible stuff wins.
You said, it's funny, when I was watching it, you said, I met this poem of a woman.
Oh yeah.
That's when I told you have the best vocabulary on the planet. You and I wrote. And I was like, honey, you've never said I'm a poem of a woman. You know? But it's just so beautiful.
She is. Meredith Salinger stepped up when we didn't even, you know, we just started talking online on Facebook. We have all these friends in common, and it was just someone to talk to. There wasn't anything romantic about it. It was just, I missed having someone to talk to in the dark at the end of the day, to engage with a mind that's so smart and so agile and fantastic, just like Michelle's. So, and we just kind of talked for 3 months and then fell in love without realizing we were falling in love. So to have that happen again felt like, okay, I'm not gonna shy away from love again because grief is telling me not to. So, and again, you know, Meredith has been such a, she's like, it's like being in love with someone that you also aspire to live on their level. That's what she brings to my life.
That's great. So the title of this comedy special is called I Love Everything. Well, what inspired that title?
Well, I Love Everything is, and this happens as you grow older. You know, you'll eventually experience this too. It's almost like
I'm 42, and you have me like 50. Really? I don't get the colorful cereal anymore. No.
Wait a minute. God. Wow. You're 42. Okay. I literally thought you were in your 30s. Sorry.
Really? Thank you.
And that's why I didn't want to be insulted going, you'll get there someday soon, kid. I thought you were, but when you will get to a certain age where, because you've met so many people and you know there's so many stories behind how people get how they are, it's hard to just purely hate anything. Even when someone annoys you, you're like, yeah, but they were probably raised by someone that was crappy, or they had it's hard to, you know, when I was in my 20s, I'm like, I hate this band. They're a bunch of jerks. I hate their music. And then you get to be 50, you're like, yeah, they're successful. Who are they hurting? Fine, good for them. And also you meet enough people where you're like, no one's really truly it's actually rare when you meet someone that's purely awful, you know? So it was a very ironic use of that title. Like, well, I love everything because I can't totally hate anything anymore.
I actually can relate. It's funny. That is my MO for being a news reporter, right? Because people are like, how can you interview this person, or how can you talk about this? And I'm like, because at the end of the day, you find a way to look at a situation or look at a person, and not that you explain it away, but you just, I don't know if it's a little bit of empathy, and then it's just a little bit of I don't know.
Well, also in your profession, you are called to understand without judging, or at least to understand so that if you do judge, there's weight behind why you're saying what you're saying. Like, I
Exactly.
gave this person a full airing of what they were doing. Like, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. So when I say I hate this person, or if I judge them, there's weight behind it. I'm not just brushing them off. I spoke with them and I know why they're bad.
That's so
You know what
true.
I'm?
I
Yeah.
absolutely 100% know what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
I'll end with this. I'm always interested when I watch these comedy specials, which are great, by the way, in these days and times. It's kind of an escape, frankly. It's like you just push the pause. It is like you just push the pause button, close the door. The kids were hungry. I'm like, just a second. And it's just, you just
Yeah.
laugh. I always wonder what it's like when you first come out and you hear the people clapping and you recognize that, like, everybody has a journey, right? So for me, I'm looking at all those, people who are there to see you. They've all come from different places, put whatever they had on hold to sit and hear you, right?
Yeah.
When you come out and they're just roaring with applause, especially on this one, what did that feel like?
It's always a little intimidating because you don't want to let them down, because you're going to, yes, they're roaring with applause, but there's a selfish aspect of, now you're going to go with me. I'm going to go where I'm going to go. I'm inviting you along, but I'm this is all ultimately for my benefit. So, and it's weird to admit that, obviously, yeah, I want them to laugh and be entertained, but we're going to be talking about me, and and some of it is going to be admitting some embarrassing things about myself that I hope you will find funny, that I hope you will relate to. But, there has to be, after thanking the audience and going, I'm so glad you came here, you have to then put the neediness behind you and go, okay, here's the story I want to tell. Here's the journey I want to go on. I hope you come along.
It's like there's like an energy of expectancy.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, absolutely. But you have to ultimately not cater to their expectations and
Ooh.
surprise, because if you're as needy as the audience is, if you're not surprised and startled by where you go, they won't be surprised and startled. If you are all about, I have what I think are your expectations in mind, and I am trying to meet them, then nobody's entertained and nobody's excited. But if you are going, I'm going to take some risks here, take some risks with me, then everyone at the end feels exhilarated and feels like they got their money's worth.
Well, it's really, really funny. Anybody listening right now, I would encourage all of them to go to Netflix and listen. When did you exhale? Like, because I'm sure you exhale as soon as you come out, or like, when can you go?
I exhale. That's a great way to put it. I exhaled, and there's a moment when I left it in the special, and I remember watching it with Meredith, who was not there at the taping, and she was like, "Oh no," because I make a mistake.
Where you
when I'm
back up
doing
and then you do it
something,
again?
and then I back up and do it again, but when I back up and do it again, and then start laughing at how bad I messed it up, and the audience there with me, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm totally relaxed now. I messed up. We're going to make fun of how I messed up, and we're going to go along. And then afterward, we were editing, I was like, let's leave that part in. That's a really, because you see me get even more relaxed. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you laughed, and I just thought, because comedians do that. You guys kind of laugh, and then you make us laugh. It's almost disarming. Yes. But I wouldn't have noticed. Like, I was like, oh, do you plan out steps? Like, I remember you backed up, and then you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could have totally edited around that, and you never would have seen that mistake.
That's funny.
But I wanted that moment of, we were already very on the same page, me and the audience. But in that moment, where we're laughing together at, well, that totally didn't work. Hang on, let me do that again. And I try to do it again, and then I break because I'm laughing at the absurdity of trying to do it again. Yes. That's when now we're like, oh, okay, now we're really truly with each other. And it felt great.
So when it was over, did you feel good?
Oh God, I felt so good. The only thing bad, and any comedian will tell you this, the only thing bad about when you finish taping a special, and then before the special comes out, you have a couple of months where you can go on the road with that material, because once the special comes out, I never want to do that material again. I don't want to rip off my audience and make them pay for material that is already out there. Sure. But, and any comedian will tell you this, there's nothing worse than when you put a special out and then you tour on that material for a couple of months. And during those couple of months, you come up with better tags and better punchlines for some of your bits. You're like, oh my God, it's so good. Like, you want to go back and put that in the special and you can't.
That's
would
funny.
drive you crazy.
Well, you're an artist. You know, you're constantly creating.
I know, but it happens all the time. You're like, why? I want that punchline in my special, not that. Oh, it just drives you crazy. And any comedian watching this right now will go, oh God, yes, that's happened so many times.
I love that. I never thought about it that way. So last question, what's next? I mean, a lot of us are still living with some restrictions due to COVID.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no stand-up next. I don't see a way, I can't see a way to morally or philosophically go out and risk death to watch my dumb jokes. Like
It's funny.
I can't do that. So I have a show coming out on Hulu that I did last year, an animated Marvel show called MODOK that is coming out. Obviously, this documentary series will run through August. I wrote a comic for Dark Horse Comics that'll be coming out later in the year. So a one-shot based on a series called Black Hammer by a guy named Jeff Lemire that is brilliant. Not my stuff. I hope people think my stuff is brilliant. His series is brilliant. I did a one-shot. So yeah, and I'm brilliant. So and then some other things that are in very, very amorphous embryonic form that I can't talk about.
You know how I love that you stuck the landing with the big words. Like, this has been a perfect interview. And I
tell Al Roker to send me a missive, and I will respond with my utmost alacrity.
Hold on, I got to do dictionary.com, and then I'll laugh.
Yeah. Wow.
No, that was good. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's great talking to you.
Good. All the best.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.